Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another channel here on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. I'm so grateful that you're joining me again. So today I want to talk with you all about April 8th, which is tomorrow, Monday, and this total solar eclipse that we're going to be experiencing. Now, the Great North American Eclipse, this is something that I've been talking about since 2020. If you're an OG on this channel and you've been following along, you'll see that I've been talking about this for like 4 years, and now everyone's talking about it because it's such a big deal. This energy is so massive. So I want to talk with you a recap of what kind of a little bit of what we covered in the last video, though I do recommend you check that out. Then I want to talk with you about, we're going to be talking about CERN, because that's important and that's happening right now. They're, doing something specifically on April 8th. And then I want to talk with you about NASA. And then I want to talk with you about a little bit of information about conspiracy theories and the 4D energies around that and how that can support you, but how that can also now become a little bit of a trap that we need to realize that the energy has shifted in that. Okay, I want to talk with you about that as well. Is there anything else, giving you a little outline of everything that we're going to be covering? And then we're going to be talking about how the eclipse season can serve you and how it can be kind of used against you, because the energy is dual in that way. And we have to really use our intention and our actions to get the results that we're trying to get, right? Okay, before we jump into all of this, and I want to go quickly so that we can cover as much as possible. But before we do, I just wanted to make a couple of quick announcements here. If you're new to my world and you are really looking for a way to deepen into your Earth mission, if you're an awakened starseed and you're looking to go more commitment and more deeply into your purpose for being here, you are a volunteer. I'm sure you already know this. You volunteered to be here on Earth. If you are awakened and you are watching this, if you consider yourself that you're on an awakening journey, I know that it's hard to swallow, but you did volunteer to be here or you wouldn't be awakened right now. And so we are the pioneers leading the way for the other people, to the other waves, to also awaken and find their footing and create that new Earth, which is going to happen. Okay, it's non-negotiable. Absolutely, like Gaia is going to move into a golden era. It can't be stopped. And there's lots of videos that I have about that. Oh, see that big orb? There's lots of videos that I have about that, about the precession cycle of Gaia. Let me make a little note, because I always say to you guys, oh, I'll link that up at the end, and then I always forget. So I'm going to make a note that the videos I'm going to link for you at the end of this are the other April 8 video, because you should definitely check that out if you haven't yet. Watch it before Monday, or on Monday would be fine. And then I'm going to link in a golden era video, which is all about Gaia's precession cycle through the stars' photon belts of Alcyone in the Pleiades system, and how Gaia's on a cycle. That's why she's a school of golden eras at the top, and she goes through a descension of about 12,000 years, has a dark ages, and then ascends back up into another golden era. So no matter what fear-mongering you have seen online, if you don't do this, we're not going to make it, you're not going to get to 5D, blah, 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 it's actually not true. Everyone is going to make it into that golden era. It's the entire planet's going in, okay? And actually not just Earth, our entire solar system. Our sun, all of our planets in our solar system are going through that photon belt, and have many times. It's a cycle. It just keeps happening. You can see it through history. Golden age, dark age, golden age, dark age. That's why Gaia is a school. But I will link up the video called The Golden Era so that you can learn heavily about that. It's a very heavy, detailed video. Okay, so right, that's not what so that's what I'm going to link up. But the announcements that I wanted to make was, if you are wanting to move more deeply into your Earth mission and your purpose for being here, I have a couple of new ways that you can do that and work with me. See what resonates for you. So the first thing is, if you're looking for a taste of what you are capable, I'm going to stop pointing at you with my pen now. If you're looking for a taste of what you are capable of with your psychic gifts, and looking to deepen into those psychic gifts, and are kind of at, at the beginning of your journey with that, I'm hosting a masterclass all around the most elusive, most interesting, but also most misunderstood psychic gift. And this happens to be one that came online first for me when I was just a kid. And I have a lot of like stories about that. But essentially, it's a clairaudience masterclass, clear hearing, and it's going to be all about. It's going to be all about unlocking 3 levels of clairaudience, and that is physical ear clairaudience, mind's ear clairaudience, and telepathy. So if you thought, yeah, if you thought it was weird before, but no, this is absolutely real. And this is a psychic gift that I use for channeling. I use it for a lot of different things, but I definitely use it in channeling. If you want to deepen into your gifts, if you want to add to your psychic repertoire, whether you are a beginner or whether you are already a pro channeler, this, you're going to love this. It's so unique and so different. And I have a way of teaching clairaudience that is, just really special. And it's something that I do inside of Psychic Light, but I've never offered it on its own like this before. And so I've kind of like pulled that really powerful training from Psychic Light and I'm offering it on its own for people to enjoy. And this is actually happening on Tuesday. So that means do not wait to get your ticket. This is going to be like just very like high level professional training, but also a lot of fun too. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is if you are a little more well along in your spiritual journey and you are either a professional channeler, a natural kind of more raw channeler, or a soul that genuinely feels like drawn to channeling, like it's a part of your soul's mission when you're trying to figure out how it all fits together. If you're one of those, then I have created a program just for channelers, just for you guys. And this is a program where in only 8 weeks with me, you will become a professional, high level, accurate, detailed as fuck, amazing channeler. I am giving the exact processes and framework that I use personally and that is taught inside of Psychic Light. And that's my framework for clean and ethical channeling, which is a 4-step framework. We're learning all about sacred space, receiving mode, language of the clairs, and masterful channeling cycles. So I won't go on and on because you can check the link in the description of this video for all the details, but you don't want to miss this. We're going live on this one April 17th. And yeah, it's going to be this 8-week transformation. And like if you're really ready to do this, with your earth mission and the reason that you're here, if you're really ready to take action, change your life, like level up your career big time. I use channeling massively in literally every single offer and container that I have. It's changed my whole life personally. It's changed my entire career. If you're ready for that level of transformation, then Channeler of Light, the 8-week program, is absolutely for you. Okay. And then finally, the third thing that I wanted to talk about, because it's also really brand new, is if you are a spiritual entrepreneur and you are looking for guidance on the best processes, structures to have in your business that feel aligned to your high vibe and 5D plus kind of frequency, but that also are grounded enough in structures that work here on earth. Like you have to anchor all of that spiritual energy into 3D structures that can be successful here on earth, right? Then I have an incredible training called The Missing Link. And it's all about building your business structure from the bottom up. And it's, again, this is exactly what I use in my business to, I've gone from $0 to 20K plus monthly. And I've also gone from like 1,000 followers to like, I think we're almost at 12,000 now. So, and that's on Instagram. So it's definitely successful. And I definitely have a lot of testimonials and client stories and all these things that you can check out. And I'll try to remember to put this in the link in the video below. But if not, just come over to Instagram. You can just DM me over there, or you can see it in the link in bio over there. This is called The Missing Link. It is like thousands of dollars worth of training. It's everything that I do and have learned up to this point for business. And I've compacted it into like this 2-hour incredibly dense training. So you'll need like a lot of notebooks for that. You're going to be taking notes like crazy, but it's amazing. I really can't say enough about it. Okay, so those are the 3 ways that if you're wanting to work with me, like if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, business owner, online, this is specific to online, or if you are an aspiring spiritual entrepreneur and you're starting to build that business, this is a great time for you to grab the training as well. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about April 8th. So I really want to just call out the last video that I did about April 8th because the information still stands really strong when I was tuning in to see if anything had changed. What's really standing strong about that information is that there is a building sensation energetically that you've been feeling leading up to April 8th. And that building sensation is all of the dense energies in your lower chakras. So from your solar, sacral, root, feet, earth, star chakras, all of the dense energies around judgment, and that could be judgment of others or judgment of yourself, uncomfortable moments, cringy things like when you're being super critical of yourself or others. And so the building sensation would have created for you a lot of dreams and pop-in thoughts recently about old relationships, old friends, old jobs, uncomfortable moments from your past. And you're like, whoa, like, where did that come from? I forgot that that happened. And it's really weird. It's like a baby purge, and it's leading up to it. Physically, the sensations happening are exhaustion and a lot of headaches specifically. And that is because that energy that's rising from your lower chakras either leaves through your heart chakra or leaves through your crown chakra. If it's leaving through your crown, you are experiencing probably a ton of headaches. If it's leaving through the heart chakra, you're getting the cringe, you're feeling the feelings, you're remembering those moments and feeling the emotions that you felt in those moments as they leave, like on the way out. And the exhaustion is for everybody. And so April 8th, the total solar eclipse, that event, we're even calling it an event now, has like a force around it that is similar to gravity, almost like a pulling motion, almost like a black hole is a strong term, but that's what I saw when I was tuning into this. And it's energetically pulling things upwards. So again, those from your lower chakras, all that energy around judgment and criticalness is getting pulled upwards. And if it's exiting out the heart or the crown or both, that's how you're feeling it. And so the collective, so that's a personal level purge that's happening. The collective level purge is that everyone is experiencing that all at once, which really leads to very, very low patience. Everyone's fighting online. Nobody has kindness, it seems like, for each other lately. It feels like a giant negative burst coming out of all of these people. But the thing is, it's not really negative if it's clearing. Right? Because a purge feels terrible as it's happening, but then everything is so beautifully cleared afterwards. And we know that because we're used to ascension symptoms. And the number one ascension symptom is the purge, okay? Always. So on a collective level, yeah, it's a massive purge and it feels really, really hateful in the collective right now. Like everybody is jumping on a bandwagon to cancel people and judge people and put people down. I've been getting trolled like massively, and that's not usually like the energy in my social media, but I know that it's the energy of the now. And so you just kind of have to expect that and have as much compassion as you can for people, because a lot of people don't understand what's happening to them, right? They're not, they don't have access to this kind of information because their heart hasn't led them to it yet. And so I really have been enjoying like this exercise in compassion for others, having a more compassionate perspective, and even finding humor in a lot of the trolling, which is, a really great level of growth for me to get into to be able to enjoy this stuff. And so, yeah, so that's basically like a lot of the first video kind of condensed really quickly for you. And, just this massive purge. Gaia is purging as well. We have to remember that whenever we experience ascension symptoms, it's not just the collective of humanity, but it can't be just us. It's everything. It's the planet and it's the animal kingdoms and the nature kingdoms as well, right? So everything is purging. And so you might see symptoms of Gaia purging as well. She's going to purge through like, oh gosh, she purges through like natural disasters a lot of the time, unfortunately, like floods and tsunamis and hurricanes and earthquakes. I think we recently had an earthquake, actually, was it yesterday? So yeah, there's been a lot of Gaia purging as well. It's going to be big booming purges because this is a really heavy energy, and look how hard everyone's being triggered. Gaia has to also release all the stuff that we have she's soaked up from us from humanity. Okay, so I think that that's probably where I want to leave that. And I just want to say, watch that video on April 8th because it's going to be so much more information than what I just did. So now I want to talk with you about some new info that's come through. So I want to talk with you about CERN. So this is the Large Hadron Collider that a lot of people have developed fear around. I can definitely understand why. It does have like a dark intention around it for sure. It's not like a light breezy airy. When I tune into it, it definitely feels like that whole like shadowy energy of like a darker secret agenda. So what's happening is, so CERN has been turned on. Everyone's talking about how it's getting turned on April 8th, and that's not the case. It's already been on for a while. I think it was turned on in 2022, to be honest with you. So it's been going for like well over a year. But what they are doing on April 8th is they are doing an experiment where they're colliding, I forget what it is, like some kind of particles together, basically like atoms or something, the building blocks of life. They like to just smash things together at the highest possible speeds that humans can get to. And this Large Hadron Collider, it's like something that goes so fast in a circle, and it's like the fastest that energy moves is this experiment, and then they crash things together as when it's going as fast as possible. So the energy from their experiments is that they're always really like interested in trying to create dark matter and trying to understand dark matter, and they're trying to recreate black holes and understand black holes. And there's also some secret aspects. I think they talk about them, their experiments and in regards to dark matter pretty openly for people that are willing to do any research, which is not a lot of people. But what they don't talk about is that they're actually doing a lot of time experiments, and they don't say that publicly. And so they're trying things like stopping time, rewinding time, and fast forwarding time. And what this results in is what I would call a timeline corruption. Now, we've experienced this with CERN before. I think that they were doing this they've done it multiple times. I think that they had turned it back on in 2022, but it was going before, they turned it off in 2020, but it was going before that in like 2018. So we've had spurts where they're doing this. And here's what you'll notice, okay, when they start playing like this, you'll see that time starts acting weird. And by that I mean you will personally have experiences with time acting weird. There's no other way to say it. It's like you look at the clock and then you go do like a bunch of things and you come back and it's been like 4 minutes later and you're like, no, that was like 45 minutes. Like, like weird stuff with time is slowed right down to a crawl, or it's super fast, or you might feel weird pauses. Other people have seen like full on glitches in time, and they call them glitches in the matrix, where they see the sky pause. I've seen weird stuff like that actually, where everything's like moving and then everything just gets too still. And then there's almost like this little weird glitch and it starts again. And you're like, what the fuck was that? Absolutely, this is time stuff. And then the other result, other than time acting weird, that you'll experience is Mandela effects. This is how Mandela effects are created, because when they mess with time, they mess with timelines. And then like we exit the timeline that we were on and enter into a new one, but we all remember the old one. But in the new one, things are done differently. And we're like, wait, what? No, it was always this way. So Mandela effects, I think I might have a video about Mandela effects. You've probably heard of them. Everyone has. It's like the Berenstain Bears versus the Bernstein Bears. It's like all of these collective memories that we know, we remember it that way, and now they're altered on this weird new timeline that we're on. The Fruit of the Loom logo, Shazam, what's some other weird ones? Oh, there's just so many. The Monopoly guy, like whether or not he had a monocle or a mustache, just weird stuff. So Mandela effects, we'll get some new ones if they start doing this, which I mean is always interesting, but it's not great because that means they're fucking around with time. Okay, so that's what's going on with CERN. And they're why are they doing it during the eclipse? Why is that specific? Well, they would do it anyway, but why they would be hosting one of their larger experiments on April 8th with the eclipse is it's like a place, sorry, it's like a moment of power, right? The eclipse energy is a moment of power. It generates power, it generates energy, especially when everyone's putting their attention, their focus on it. Like all the world, like they've got like all the children watching it, everyone's focusing on this one point, and our energy, our attention is like a battery, right? So basically that's a vortex, right? There are natural vortexes that happen on Earth when ley lines cross. They create amplified energy, but you can create a vortex through amplifying energy with a lot of people's attention. So I would say it's definitely not a portal, but it definitely could act like a vortex. And so they're going to harness that kind of cataclysmic window of power for their experiments. And it just, I mean, it's just going to give it that extra oomph for sure. And maybe they're going to get bigger results from that. So keep your eye on time and stuff like that over the next at least 3 or 4 months. Okay. The next thing is NASA has decided, and you can research all of this. And again, I really recommend research CERN and April 8th and how it's not that they're turning on, it's that they're smashing things together. And then research, NASA has decided that they want to send rockets into the shadow of the moon on the eclipse. Why not? We live in the most ridiculous timeline. I can't even with this. It's like somebody is like, it's like a comedy a lot of the time. Just like you just can't even with it all. Ever since 2020 with COVID and just all the ridiculous things that have happened, it's just like shaking your head constantly. But anyway, so NASA's sending it. This is real research. They're sending the rockets into the shadow of the moon. So basically, what I channeled from that wasn't a whole lot, but that it was that they were trying to corrupt a solar frequency. So solar flares are predicted to be extremely active for the next weeks, right? They're very active right now and they can predict them. They're like, it's not that they're scheduling them, but it's like the weather. They can see it's about to get wild. And that's the case right now for solar flares. And you can also research that. It's about to get crazy with solar flares. There's even warnings about how many and how big there are going to be. Now, these solar flares actually support the ascension cause. You can research, I keep saying that word in this video, I feel like someone needs to hear it. You can look into this and see that solar flares and the energy that they bring to Earth have been scientifically proven to be the forces that create evolution in all of life. Humans, animals, plants, everything. That's what creates our shifts and our changes in our evolution is solar flares. They change your DNA. They evolve your DNA, right? So that's good for us. We want to be evolving right now into the divine human blueprint. However, these NASA rockets, I don't know if you realize just how toxic a rocket is for the atmosphere. It's like, I don't know the exact words that should be used here, but I can just say super toxic pollution, chemicals, and all of that come off of a rocket. And so what I saw was that there's like a pollution aspect to this, trying to corrupt the solar flare energies that are predicted to be so strong over the next few weeks, or to, like, what's another word, like, to not, just to corrupt the frequency, or to, I don't know, disperse it in some way, right? So that it's not so pure and so helpful. So, I mean, I know that this all sounds very conspiracy theory, and sometimes the truth does sound like that. Do you know what I mean? Because we live in this weird Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole universe where a lot of the times the strangest explanation is the real one, but not all the time. So this is a really great moment for me to just quickly speak to you about conspiracy theories, because there's something that I really wanted to share with you right now. So conspiracy truths, a lot of it is truths, that whole community, energy, dimension, has really shifted. And I really want to share this with you because it's important for you to understand that this isn't the same energy like it was in 2020, where we're getting our hands on bare and raw truths that have been buried, and we're unearthing them, and it feels like victorious and it helps us. Now, the conspiracy communities have been infiltrated with what's a good word, like false theories, false flags, false theories, false information. And it's all very intentional, because they saw that there was a very strong, in 2020 in particular, and for a chunk of time there, they saw that there was a very strong, like, truthers agenda, and they absolutely took advantage of that and infiltrated that with their own conspiracies that are not true. So it's like that becomes really, really complicated, because people in that community want to believe everything that they unearth. But if things are planted for you to unearth, that's not good, right? So conspiracy truths have always been an important part of anyone's spiritual awakening. This happens at the beginning of your awakening, right? It's like you go down the rabbit hole and you have this incredible eye-opening awakening that the world that you thought you knew is not the world that you thought you knew, right? And it does create this frequency and initiation of sacred rage, which is this rage for equality and for truth and for justice. And that can be a really beautiful thing and a doorway into a higher awakening, as long as you don't get stuck there. That's a whole other story. A lot of people get stuck in the 4D rabbit holes and they never progress beyond that. However, the doorway into the higher perspective is that energy. And a lot of people will naturally move beyond the 4D into the 5D of that higher perspective of love and compassion, and seeing that a lot of the times what's playing out on earth has a greater purpose, even when it seems like something negative or difficult or even awful. It's like seeing that this is all, like, how the darkness can serve the awakening, how it can serve the light by, like, waking people up, because it's just too shocking, or it's too controversial, or it's too much, right? And people can no longer have their head in the sand with the ostrich syndrome once they see that truth. And it creates an awakening. It's a very potent way to help people awaken, okay? But now conspiracies are being used like this energetic weapon, and that energetic weapon inflames the ego and pulls souls that were moving into that 5D awakening of that love, pulls them back down into separation and division. So if you find yourself arguing online, feeling defensive, feeling triggered, feeling really judgmental or critical about a potential conspiracy, you're being attacked energetically and you need to pull back, okay? So let's remember this, because there is absolutely zero point in arguing with people about a conspiracy, whether it's truth or not. I've said the C word so many times in this video. I really hope that this it's going to get flagged. Oh my God. But I don't know how it's too long to spell, like it can spell COVID. But anyway, so that's what's happening now with that energy. And so if you feel like you're getting all hot and bothered and upset about whether something is true or not, you really need to check yourself in that. And I have seen this really infiltrating the spiritual community of people that are supposed to stand for, like, love and unity and oneness, and they're all at each other's throats, whether or not a princess is alive or not, Princess Kate is alive or not, or whether or not, what was another big one whether or not, like, news and world events like the Baltimore Bridge and all these different things, whether or not they were accident or intentional. And it's like, it's just really important for you to not lose yourself and give up the growth and the progress that you've made into your 5D awakening by getting pulled back into that 4D, because it's all intentional that that's happening. It's all being planted, and it's all being like, even the arguments online could potentially be planted, right? They're not always like real people. You don't know when you're talking to somebody online. So just keep all of that in mind and really try to keep a cool head. And I mean, I really like to like vet the people that I follow with obviously tuning in with clairsentience. Like, does their energy feel good to me? If they're channelers, are they using a sacred space every single time? Are they able to tell me who they're channeling? Where is that information coming from? Specifically, who are you talking to? What what source are you using? Do they have any ego in that channeling energy? Can you feel that in there? Does something feel off? Does it feel like their own opinions and their own ideas and agendas? Have you seen them be really accurate in the past and really like neutral in the past when they're channeling? And really just like trusting yourself. You should always trust in your own intuition above any outside noise. Okay. So, and keep in mind, this is happening to me right now. You will energetically outgrow teachers that you used to really look up to, because all of a sudden people that I used to be like the biggest fan of, and I'm watching them channel information about like current events or whatever, and they're channeling for the trendiness of it. They're channeling for the follows and the likes, and oh, that topic's on trend, or oh, that's like gonna get like a lot of attention or followers or engagement or whatever. And that starts to be now channeling from the ego, and it's more about like entertainment at that point than it is about like the pure connection and the divine truth. So, you might find, like I am finding, that I'm outgrowing certain people, and I feel like now when I try to watch stuff that I used to love, or people that I used to love, and I tune into their new stuff, I'm getting the ick. Like right away, I'm like, oh, no, no, like what? And then I'm like so confused, and it's okay to outgrow spiritual teachers. You can outgrow me if you want to. Like, it's okay. You're allowed to do that. Like during an awakening, everyone's growing in all these different directions. So it's only natural that you would fall out of resonance with certain people and find new people and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's sad when you feel like you almost lose like a role model in a way, like I'm kind of feeling right now, but it's also important and a good independent step to kind of step out on your own like that. And I'm at this point now with my channeling where like, I don't even check what other people are saying. Like, I don't care what so and so thinks. No matter how big their account is or how many followers they have, I don't care what they think. I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna channel the absolute and pure truth using my clean and ethical channeling method, because I'm solid in that. I know that that's the truth. I have had so many experiences and testimonials and miracles literally with it, that I don't question it anymore. I know that the way and the process that I use eliminates that egoic opinion. It's so pure. And so if I'm solid in myself as a channeler, I'm solid in that, then I have to trust that and just go and say what I need to say, even when it clashes against these other bigger. And I've literally had someone be so triggered by that. Well, that's not what so and so thinks. That's not what, and they're naming these larger accounts. They don't think that. They don't think that. And it's like, okay, then go to their page. You know what I mean? Like, I know that I'm speaking in divine truths for the timeline that we're on, for everyone, for the highest good of all involved, as clean and pure as you can possibly get it. I know, like I said, I'm just solid in that. And so you now need to decide what you believe. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Just that's a you problem and not a me problem kind of thing, right? Okay. So how does this all really like factor into eclipse season, all this conspiracy and all this other stuff? Well, the truth is that um, though eclipse season is extremely challenging, it has always been a challenge. Like, our ancestors literally would hide from the eclipses, like in their homes, because it was such a bad omen. It's a challenge, let me tell you. But it's not necessarily negative, because like I said, it creates this massive clearing. However, if we are turning our focus outside of ourselves during this time when we could be really focusing on getting a deep, deep purge done and over with in ourselves. But a lot of people don't like turning inward, do they? And they will look for anything to turn outwards, especially when new things are intentionally implanted into like the mainstream media and social media and events and all of these things. If we are turning our focus outside of ourselves to these orchestrated events and drama, then we lose the depth of our own clearing. We lose that gift that this eclipse could be for us. And that's intentional. I believe that that is intentional because I believe that there are, how do we say, like very, very informed um, participants in our shadow governments, and I don't just mean humans, very informed and very knowledgeable about this kind of stuff, and have been on Earth for many, many cycles of Gaia. So there's definitely some really strong, darker intentions around this orchestration of all of these events that would take our attention away from our own selves at this time. And so it's like we're being topped up with lower energies through all of these like massive events and public things that are happening, and the conspiracies that are now being implanted as well, because it's all intentional. It's like we're being topped up with these lower energies so that we have to clear that first, and we can't go as deeply into the self as we could or we would like to go. And so the way to serve your higher self during this time is to continue to place your attention and your intention inwards and keep coming back to that as often as possible. And when you get triggered, ask yourself, okay, where did that come from? When did I first feel that way? Instead of immediately making it about the person that triggered you, you can, because triggers are happening on the inside. Like if you're triggered by someone, that's still a you problem, right? Your trigger is inside you, energetically in your body somewhere. So you need to turn now within and be like, where is this coming from? Where in my body is this happening? When is the first time that I ever felt like this? And you can find the origination point of that to heal and clear that. And so you can also replace those kinds of things. Like a lot of the time, those kinds of triggers are very old beliefs that are not serving you anymore. So you kind of like pull that out and look at it and be like, do I still even believe this? Like, is this even still supporting me? Or can I rewrite this belief to something that does support me? So when you're triggered, I want to repeat, when you're triggered, it's a you thing, not a the other person thing. It's coming from deep within you. They are just a mirror and a gift to help you find where inside your body you are not free yet, right? So where in there are you still holding on to this darkness? And if somebody lights it up for you, that's a gift, right? So that's why I've just been so grateful for all the trolling that I've been receiving lately. What a gift. God, it's beautiful. So I can look inside myself and see if I can't laugh at that, like honestly, and I take it seriously, where am I getting defensive or where am I insecure? Like, what is that? And I can really, really look at that and be like, you sneaky little devil, I don't believe this. This is an old where I didn't feel worthy because this happened or that person said this to me in school. That's not true. That's just not true though. And it was about that person back then putting stuff on me. And you can just like really talk yourself through the shadow work of that and releasing that. So, and remember, your reactive energy is always going to be about you, not the other person or the situation. It is truly just that mirror. And it's a gift because it's showing you, again, where in yourself you're just not free yet. Okay, so things to leave you with. Do not connect to the outside energies right now. That includes the moon, that includes the sun, and that includes the collective. Okay, this is not a time to be like reaching out with your energy and trying to connect to the collective or to the sun or to the moon specifically. Stay in your body. Stay in your body and stay in your timeline, okay? Because remember, there's going to be all of these timeline corruptions. And so how we can counteract any timeline corruption that's happening, and we should work on counteracting these, is to stay in your body and to stay in deep presence, right? The more you are in your body during this difficult next few days, the more that you're in your body and the more that you're in the present moment, like looking around like, oh, like, whoa, yeah, I didn't know that was there. Oh God, I forgot I had this. Like, you're so here that you're seeing every little detail. It's like that level of presence, that level of being here in the moment and in your body, that's going to counteract timelines being able to lift off without you, kind of thing. We are little anchors that hold it in place and make it really difficult for them to do all of these corruptions. So that is a way that you can serve. But I also want to invite you to, I decided like last minute to do a small little IG live. I guess it's technically an event. I'm going to do it at 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Monday. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through an exercise that's very safe to do, even though it's an eclipse, where we're going to see the timelines playing out in front of us, like all the different versions and options. And we're going to feel into them, your personal timelines, okay? Energetically, we're going to find the happiest, most golden version of your life that you can find, the one that holds the most life force, and we're going to step into that. Okay, because if this is a time of woo-woo timelines, let's anchor in. Let's use this moment where time is a little wacky and the eclipse and everything. We can use this moment to serve ourselves. We don't have to be at the mercy of these energies and these big corporations. We can intentionally now anchor in a better timeline, right? And so we're going to find that happiest, most golden version of your timeline, the one that holds the most life force. You'll be able to see it, and then we're going to move into it. We're going to feel ourselves step onto it and move deeply into it. And we're going to feel that golden energy like rushing through our body and rushing and filling up the heart. And we are going to know that we are the architect of our own life in that moment. And we are going to decide, and we're going to understand that our choices become law in our own realities, and we will claim that. Okay, so we're going to do a lot of like firm claiming energy into our highest, most golden timeline. And it's just going to be like a quick little event. I know that a lot of people want to enjoy the eclipse and have that day for themselves. So probably like maybe even less than an hour, but I do want to, I haven't really talked about it yet. But I do want to just do something small for myself. And if anybody wants to join me in doing that, then they can. I'm personally going to be really trying to connect to my highest timeline during this weird vortex portally thing of time. All right, so join me on Instagram tomorrow, Monday, the 8th at 12 p.m. Eastern. And I think that's all that I have to say. So I hope that this was helpful to you. I'm going to remember to link up the first April 8th video and the Golden Era video for lots of information about that. Remember that the description links in the bottom of this video will call out the 3 ways that you can work with me right now. Clairaudience Masterclass, Channeler of Light, 8-week journey into being a professional high-level channeler, and the missing link on how to build your spiritual empire from the ground up. Okay? Beautiful. You guys, thank you so much. And I want to remind you to please listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. I love you, beautiful star seeds. Have a great day.